Welcome to the latest edition of the SNews here at LonghornStation.com. I'm John Medina with Ahmad Brooks from the Wake Up Call. Yesterday, we talked about comparing that Nebraska defense to that volatile Texas offense. We're going to flip it around a little bit. We heard from Will Muschamp a lot this morning. Now we'll talk about Nebraska's offense against that Texas defense. A Texas defense, Ahmad, that is still smarting from giving up 39 points to the Texas Aggies, and about 13 missed tackles had Coach Muschamp grinding his teeth.
Those are the things that concern you about these big games because, John, they're going to try to find matchups. Nebraska will. They realize that as far as this Texas team is concerned, particularly on defense, they're outmanned. They're outnumbered. Texas is talented on this side of the ball. It'll come down to them trying to put the ball in the hands of Roy Halou Jr., trying to run the clock down, which will be very vital. Can Sam Acho, can Lamar Houston, Keyston Randall, Sergio Kendall, can those guys keep it together enough to force them to pass the ball? And if they can do that, and you put the hands and if you put the ball in the hands of the quarterback for Nebraska, I think this Texas secondary gets after a couple ball, maybe even picks up a few of them off, gets this Texas offense back on the field. I think this is where Texas will win the football game, is on defense.
Yeah, and I think a leopard doesn't change his spots. I do think Zach Lee's going to get sat in this game. We're going to see the young guy from Dayton, Texas, come in. But a couple of things about Nebraska, they are very sneaky good. They lost only 3 games this year. Now, there's not much you can do about a 21-point loss to the Red Raiders. Red Raiders were hot and cold all year. But you consider that 1-point loss at Virginia Tech. We all saw that game. Safety let a guy get behind him. They lost a game they probably should have won. Then a 2-point loss at home against Iowa State, a game that they turned it over 8 times. You got to win both those games. This could easily be a Nebraska team that's 11-1. We're talking shades of '96 again, where they come in as world beaters. Don't go to sleep on Nebraska here. The last 2 times that they came to Texas for a Big 12 championship game, they won both of them. The difference, I think, here is points. You go back the last 8 Big 12 championship games, the team that won the Big 12 championship game is averaging 42 points a game in those wins. I just think Texas, I'm not sure Nebraska can keep up with Texas.
I don't think they can, and that's why I really do think that this Texas defense is just as good as this Nebraska defense, so I think those two will cancel out. And there is no question in my mind that this Texas offense is leaps and bounds better than this Nebraska offense. This is where they'll score more points, and it doesn't really matter. And as I mentioned yesterday on our show, I said, John, you think about that 2005 Texas team. They were so good because they averaged 50 points. Who cares what the defense does? Missed tackles for this Texas defense. Of course, Will Muschamp and this team doesn't want it. But if Colt McCoy and this offense plays well, there's no way that Nebraska's offense can score with them.
We'll continue the discussion tomorrow morning. We invite you to tune in to the Wake Up Call. 6 o'clock, we'll hear from Mac Brown. Most of the morning tomorrow, we'll get you ready for Texas and Nebraska. Join us tomorrow for the SNews right here at LonghornStation.com.